Tennessee SEC champions, regular season and the tournament title. A dominant performance down there in Hoover last week, including an 8-5 victory over a red-hot Florida team in the final. Drew Gilbert, the tournament MVP, after homering and driving in 4 on Sunday in the championship game. Luke Lipsius had a big day, and Camden Sewell, a guy who's been in the bullpen a lot in his career, got the start and threw 5 scoreless innings for Tony Vitello. All those guys at the podium celebrating the SEC championship afterwards.
Yeah, just congrats to our guys. They're good kids. I think they've got what they got coming to them. I mean, they work hard as well, so congrats to them. And from everybody, thank you to the grounds crew. I mean, we were on, nightclub hours basically when we were playing, and they got us through this thing, which was tremendous, and it did not disappoint, as always. I mean, town of Hoover got a sunny bomb. You got Kentucky guys risking life and limb out in the outfield. That Florida-South Carolina pitching matchup was outstanding. Could go on and on. Alabama, kind of a hometown team, was on fire, so it did not disappoint. Glad to be a part of it, and just glad to be a part of the league in general. It may not always seem like it, but I promise you, I'm humbled and feel very fortunate every day just to be a part of this league. It's unbelievable what it does for you if you're a competitor and an athlete, and I was not as a good enough athlete as these guys or anyone else to even sniff this league as a player. So I feel blessed every day to have an opportunity to be in it, and I'm also not foolish. When you're in it, it is not a forgiving league, so there is no safe zone. But again, if you like to play ball or any sport, you like to compete, it's a great place to be.
Questions for the players? We'll start in the back.
Luke, you've been here the longest. Just when you think back to when you got here and now finishing your career, sweeping the SEC regular season and winning the tournament, just what does that mean to you?
It means everything. When I came in here, we weren't really expected to do much. We were kind of the laughing stock of the SEC. And then, these guys, V and his coaching staff, they came in, they did their thing, and then they're great at recruiting, they're great at making players better. And I think that's one big thing that they preach is just get better. And it's really awesome to see it come full circle. And then now we're on the top of the SEC. We still have a bit of a ways to go, but we're going to enjoy it right now, and it's really cool.
Camden, what about Florida in this tournament just makes you so dominant?
I'd say the guys behind me, the amount of plays they made today was really special to see. There were a lot of plays I thought that were getting through, balls getting through the outfield, and Cordy and Trey and Jarrell, Luke, everyone was making plays, so it was really awesome to be a part of.
Camden, Tony's talked a lot about how much you wanted to be a starter in your career. Just what did it mean to get the ball today, and then what did you have working for you?
It meant a lot. I wanted it, to say the least, a lot, and I didn't actually find out until this morning, so whenever I found out, it was like, all right, it's time to go, and I just enjoyed every minute of it.
For all three of you guys, how do you balance celebrating this, enjoying this, but then also, kind of as Luke said, there's a bit of a ways to go to do the things you guys want to finish with?
Yeah, I mean, I think, for us, it's kind of just a mindset thing. Obviously, it's really cool, to win the SEC tournament, but I think, we have bigger goals in mind, and, we know we still got a lot of baseball in front of us.
Yeah, to that note, I think we're really good at kind of separating the celebration from not letting it carry over, so we don't have any of those like championship hangovers, so to speak. So we're going to enjoy it today, but then when we get back to Knox, when it's grind time.
Right in the middle.
Camden, when we talked a month ago, what did you do in between then and now to get this starting job in the biggest game so far of the year?
Honestly, I think that's up to him to decide who starts. But from back then, it was just like there was a point in time where you start thinking a lot, and at some point you just got to be like, here's what I got, and this is what I'm going to do, and whatever happens, happens.
You were there in the middle of the game when they walked Jordan Beck to face you with the bases loaded. Just what's your mindset going through that at bat?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of in that situation, you just try to learn from your previous 2 at-bats. Obviously, once it gets 2 strikes, it's just kind of competing at that point. You got a lot of things going around you, crowds getting into it, but just try to slow my heart rate down as much as I can and just stay within my swing.
Drew, just you being so consistent in that 4-hole, just what have you worked on most this year, and what are the results that you've seen?
Yeah, I think, for me specifically, and a lot of guys just trying to, get as many quality at-bats as possible. It kind of simplifies things, and even when you get out, you can still take things from your at-bats no matter what.
This is for Drew and Luke both. A bit of a different look from the Florida starting pitcher today. What adjustments did you make to still have a super productive day?
It's not the first time we've seen a slower throwing lefty. We had to sit on it, and as you saw, we barreled some balls. We barreled balls really well. It just got caught. It's kind of stick with your approach. You can't get too big, and I think we did a good job of really sticking with what we had to do. And then Seth, of course, lays down a beautiful bunt, and then this guy, when he comes up with bases loaded, it's going to be fireworks. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think early, including myself, kind of just got out chasing pitches out of the zone, but I think kind of just going back to, getting pitches in the zone and, trying to put good swings on it and kind of just keep stacking throughout the game.
Drew, you were committed to a prominent program before you decided to come to Tennessee. Just when you reflect, what was the vision that Tony and his staff were trying to sell you on, and was it the vision that came through today?
Yeah, it was this. He's as competitive as anyone I've ever met in my life, and I'm really competitive too, and I know he wants to win, and I think the plan was to win right away.
Luke, if I'm not mistaken, I think y'all stayed in the dugout and watched Arkansas celebrate a year ago after they won it. How did y'all kind of internalize watching them celebrate that, and I guess how good did it feel to kind of flip the script this year?
I don't really remember what happened last year. It was kind of a blur. I remember just wanting to get out of there as quickly as possible. That one really stung. And so I think a bunch of the older guys, a bunch of the people that have been here knew what it felt like to lose. And then what was really cool about this year is when things weren't, let's say, going our way in the first few innings, we weren't scoring, there wasn't really a sense of, oh my God, and tightening up. There was more just this loose and calm and focused. And I think if we can carry that through the rest of the postseason, we're going to have a lot of success.
I think this could be for all three of you guys. There was a lot of emotion that you all showed this tournament that I don't think we usually see from this group. What kind of led to that shift where we just saw so much emotion from you guys?
Yeah, I think, kind of just getting into like postseason baseball. You got atmospheres that, we haven't necessarily played it all year. Obviously, LSU, we played LSU, there's a ton of people there, and it was an awesome environment, and it kind of just carried over the next 2 days.
Yeah, I think this is actually the most passionate and emotional team I've been a part of. And throughout the whole season, we really love celebrating. But with that, we don't get too emotional within the game. When something good happens, we cheer. But it's not like we don't let let's say, the bigger crowds affect us. And so we love each other, have great team chemistry, and we really want everyone to do well. And I think that's where all the passion and emotion comes from. We want to see each other succeed.
I think also it comes from last year of what happened. So being able to stay on top and come out with a win today was huge.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Drew, as good as most of your at-bats have been recently and throughout this week, there may have been a couple last night and the first couple today that did not go the way you wanted them to go, and then you get down 0-2 again. As emotional as you are, how do you control things then and try to be like, okay, I got to get this thing sorted?
Yeah, for sure. Last night and even my first couple of bats today, they weren't chasing pitches out of the zone. Not something I feel like I've done a lot all year. But Coach V came up to me, I think it was more my third at bat, and he just told me to stop thinking and just go play. That helped a lot.
Get two more in for the players.
Drew, that late homer, just take us through what you saw on that pitch and then even through the delayed bat flip. How was that?
Got to a 2-0 count, and we always talk about 2-0, get your swing off, have conviction in your thoughts, and I was hunting a fastball. And then with that, I just had to make sure it was fair or foul. I didn't, but then I don't really know what to say there.
Carlton Fisk moment.
All right, guys. Normally when you think of Hoover, you see a lot of purple and gold in the crowd. The LSU fans they take over this place. It felt like Vol Nation took over this place this week. For all three of you guys, just what does this fan base mean to you guys?
It's pretty surreal to see. I remember last year it was I think we got like the championship game. There's a lot of people there, but the last few games here have been pretty special. So everyone that traveled, we can't thank you enough for the support.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tribute to Vol Nation and how much they're supporting us. And, you know, it's really cool to step back and look in the crowd and you see almost complete orange, even when we're playing a team like LSU, you know. And it's awesome that they're getting so into it. They're getting so into baseball. And I know that they're going to represent in Lindsey Nelson through the rest of our run.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't think any of us can thank them for how much, you know, they help us. I mean, honestly, it really helps having a huge crowd behind you, and you know, we love how passionate they are.
Well, some of the names you guys had on this team last year, Max Ferguson, Jake Rucker, Liam Spence, and then to come into this year and win all these awards, regular season and in this tournament, just what does that say how you guys have brought together after losing so much?
Well, you know, there's always the narrative, oh, we lost a lot. But really, there's just guys behind the scenes that are waiting to get their shot. And I think that's what we're seeing this year is we got guys like Trey, Cortland, Jarrell. They're all just sitting behind the scenes learning from these everyday players, and they're just waiting. And so it's really cool when they actually get their shot and they take it and run with it. And it's awesome to see the success they're having. But I don't think anyone was worried about losing those guys because we knew the pieces that we had.
Yeah, I hate to interject, but I started rattling off some names and I left out Chad Dallas, which you can't forget that guy. And then Rucker, you reminded me of. It was on the spot, you know, post game. I don't think we would have been able to win this game without that group. And they've kind of forged, as much as these guys took on the mission of, we really would like to separate ourselves and be 2022 team because the fans really loved last year's team. I think a piece of it's still there, kind of an education piece. So like Luke said, other guys are waiting to learn. And those guys helped. And it's kind of fun, not a parent, so I know it's kind of crazy when kids probably start repeating things you say, like my sister that's got a foul mouth. But there's a couple freshmen that play today that act way different than when we recruited them, and it's because of these guys.
Thanks, guys. I think we got them all. Appreciate it. You guys can step down.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
And now we'll take questions now for the head coach. We'll start in the back. Best.
Tony, when you have a roster like this, that there's not everybody's always going to get what they want, and for a guy like Sewell to kind of stay bought in, whatever role comes to him, and then get kind of a reward today, what's that feel like as a coach to see a guy kind of stick through with things?
Yeah, I mean, it feels tremendous, but it's also evidence. You know, you can say some cliche things as a coach. Sometimes you kind of have to. But there's real depth on this team, as there are on other teams, but a lot of times it'll vanish because guys get wrapped up in themselves. And I think you have to have sincere brotherhood or a bond going on in the locker room. And it kind of trickles down to where it's out of our control, where you go out to eat after games with parents, and maybe I pulled the guy too early, or maybe we shouldn't have bunted or something like that. And I just think whatever's kind of gone on, again, with leadership from guys that have come before these guys, or the Lipsius brothers together started the whole thing. There's a tight bond, I think, where people value other teammates they have, and they put them above themselves.
People often question the importance of this tournament, but how nice is it to have players like Drew and Evan and really the rest of the team that you know the effort's going to be there every single time out?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always want to win. I mean, you may strategize a little differently with if you're going to, you know, rest a guy or pull a pitcher earlier. But all these kids want to win each game they play. It's just a matter of, like you said, to what extent. And fortunately, we don't have, you know, Dean Craig, our chaplain, he had a good message for the guys. So it was about effort and attitude. And it would reinforce some things. And he kept saying he sees all this stuff. It's nice to not have to worry about those two things. That's rare. And they take care of it on a high level.
Tony, there were a couple moments I just wanted you to kind of take me through. First was you kind of went off into the dugout by yourself to put on the shirt and hat. What was just that moment like for you? And then after the game, or after everything, you went down the line and just thanked kids, fans, and everyone for being there. Why was that important for you to do?
Just because I think, you know, we want to accomplish a lot as a program. I don't think we've mapped out any one thing, but we've said repeatedly, like, we can't do it alone. And you talk about other programs that have had success here. We've got to have people that have our backs. And I think they see that our kids, as we were just talking, they have their backs in a very tight-knit fashion, and that's why they kind of take to these guys or gravitate to them or buy a silly T-shirt or, Kirby's mustache is all over the place because they see that and they can feel it, and then they buy in, and all of a sudden it's kind of a big deal. And it's almost kind of becomes I don't know, life force is kind of dramatic, but it kind of becomes this thing. And I wanted to thank those people for that. And then the first question, as far as going in the dugout, I really was just kind of changing out, and I didn't know what to do, to be honest with you. Coach Anderson and myself were on opposite sides of the dugout in one of these things, and his squad won. So he's got more experience at stuff like this. So not that I was Jim Valvano running around lost, but was just kind of taking a minute to gather, I guess.
Tony, another emotional question for you. Just what does today mean in terms of accomplishments? I know you want to win more, but outside of one weekend, you couldn't ask for a better regular season or conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, you want accomplishments. I mean, you could just go in the cage and swing and get a little better with your swing and accomplish something, or maybe it's even something poor. And you take confidence from the things that you accomplish, and then when you don't do so well, you can say the old, you win or you learn. You got to learn from those lessons. So this just happens to be on a bigger stage, but there's other wins throughout the year. I could go, into different teams or whatever that were big moments, and you take confidence from it. And then, when things don't go well your way, you got two roads you can go down. You could be more determined to do better the next go around, or you can be frustrated and let it sink you. And fortunately, we got a bunch of guys with a high level of determination.
Tony, where have you seen Drew grow the most from last year to this year, and what all he's put together?
Yeah, an easy one that everyone now knows in the country, managing his emotions. And again, I just talked about hitting in the cage. Sometimes you get guys, that in the course of a round get too fired up even just doing that. But he started to use the whole field a ton more. And you saw he got an award today. Guys were on base for him for one thing, but he got an award today for driving a ball down the line one way and then driving a ball as far as you can go down the line the other way. So he's really kind of become a complete hitter. And